And to the audience, thank you for tuning in. I am Deborah Salters. A1 gets it done. My position is A1 on the ballot. My platform is Saving Our Children because it is what I do on a daily basis. I am an educator, substitute teacher, so I've traveled and taught in several districts, and I know what our district does not have and what our children should have. There's no reason why we have a $1.5 billion budget and our children cannot read beyond a third grade level. There's no reason why we've had the same people in office for 10 years and our children have gotten worse every year. They say Newark forward, and I keep asking, what do we mean Newark forward? Newark forward off the cliff, Newark further into the abyss, Newark further into illiteracy, Newark forward further into darkness, Newark forward further into a lack of education. And so if we are going to save our children, we are going to do it now because they're not just our future. The children are our now, because if we don't get this right now, they will have no future. I am a person that has had a great education in the city of Newark, and that is not what we have now. And just to let you know, voting, on your ballot, there's a B1 slot, and she is touting her victory already because she said she's uncontested. She actually should not be on the ballot because they've already placed her in the one-year term. But since she's on the ballot, you all need to write in a name so that she does not go uncontested, okay? There's a write-in box underneath B1. Do not circle for her because it's more of the same, but you have an option to write in the name, and most people don't know that. That is your right. Whomever you want to put in that box, put in that box. If you don't like any of us, you can write a name in that box. But I am here because I am present. I love our children. I am fighting for our quality of life on a regular basis. It's not what am I going to do once I get on the board. I'm going to continue to do what I'm doing now. And my cry is for all of us to get involved because we are all the parents of all these children. Whether we feel like we have a child or a niece or a nephew in the public school system or not, be it charter or public charter, they are all of our children. Because if we do not invest now, that'll be that child that is busting somebody in the head, breaking a window, stealing a car. But what are we as society, as parents, giving these children to give them a better future? Because they're acting out because they're frustrated. They're angry. They see that people are only there to get a paycheck. They're getting no life skills, right, to be able to stand on life out here. I had a group of seniors tell me, they said, Ms. Salters, you are speaking for all of us. And they said, but when you speak, can you add this line to what you're saying? They are teaching us to survive and not to thrive. They're teaching us how to test, but then we come out of school and there's nothing. And these are our seniors saying this. So I'm telling you that it is important, it is imperative that we make change now. And to change it, we need to get this current board out of here. And just to let you know, I received a video of them all partying at Roger Leone's party. And I'm talking every board member. I didn't see Williams, so I don't want to accuse her. But all of the other board members were partying at Leone's party. And the mayor was there. His brother was there taking pictures with Allison and all of the people. And this is the partying we're doing for his 55th birthday. And I'm saying we as the people, not myself. I was not invited. But this is what our tax dollars are doing. That's what his almost $300,000 a year salary is doing, while our children are suffering and dying in the streets without a great education. Now, you tell me, do we want more of the same, or do we want to change this and get our children out of the pipeline to prison? A1 gets it done. Deborah Salters, April 16th.
Thank you so much, Ms. Salters. It's anathema. You mentioned the name of Roger Leone. Roger Leone should be with his devil-worshipping self, he should be banished from our presence. Roger Leone has engaged in criminal behavior by hiding civil rights violations against black people in the city of Newark. He has been a part of a situation where the Civil Rights Division, the U.S. Attorney's Office, the NAACP, the NTU, the State Attorney General, and any other investigative body should be looking into him and looking into how he could be over a school district where a report has been generated that says there's anti-black bullying behavior going on in a school, at least one school in Newark, maybe two, maybe more, where in this one school called Global Studies High School, where it's very clear that the superintendent knows by having gone over to the school, because the children begged him and begged the board in 2022. They begged them to come over to the school and do something about them being called niggers. I know you're not supposed to say niggers on the air because they call it the N-word, but the people who are calling those black children names over at Global Studies don't know it's called the N-word, so that's why they call them niggers. That makes sense to me. Now, not only do they call them niggers, they call them trained chimpanzees. Not only that, if you're a Muslim, just such as the daughter of one of the board members, Dawn Haynes, they pull her hijab off. Or they didn't pull her, they pull another girl's hijab off, but they call her daughter a terrorist. And they terrorize this Muslim woman's daughter so severely that the woman had to take her daughter out of the school and put her in another school, University High School in Newark. And now Dawn Haynes, who actually is a board member, knows that this happened. And for her to see this go on and not even want to release the report or talk about the report that talks about this violence against black children in a Newark public school, a school where among the careers that they wanted to have are ambassadors, envoys, and CIA agents. A school where Malcolm X's daughter, Adela Shabazz, was paid $200,000 to teach Arabic in there. I don't think Adela Shabazz knows any Arabic. Now, that doesn't mean she doesn't. But whether she does or not, $200,000 you're spending on that. So those people can go out and become whatever they want, CIA agents or whatever. But they're so violently nasty to black kids over there. And their principal, who supports all of this, instead of him being disciplined, he was told, can you compare it to Hitler? Hitler killed some European Jews, and they called it the Holocaust. Now, imagine telling Hitler, go over to Dahomey and Ghana, and go over to Norway and Finland and New Zealand, and find out if they're committing Holocaust. And if they are, you tell them don't do it. That's the gist of it. This Leone guy, Roger Leone, he has the nerve to tell this man, Nelson Ruiz, we know your school has done all these things, and they've been mean to the black people, but I'm going to take you to all the schools in Newark, and we're going to talk to them and tell them not to be mean to black people. That's for us. Please don't mention Roger Leone's name here in our presence, but I guess if you have to, you have to. Now, not only that, they're doing things like, and when I say that the Civil Rights Division and other groups should be looking into this, we want to know that on the 7th floor of 790 Broad Street, there is a U.S. Attorney's Office. Does the U.S. Attorney have a copy of the Creed report? Now, the audience may not know what the Creed report is, and we may not get into it tonight, but we will mention it. It was a report that looked into the racism at Global Studies High School, and it hadn't been released yet by anybody, even the courts. But besides this, there's things like no-show jobs and other kinds of things that have been going on in Newark that we don't even know about. But let us introduce our next candidate, Ms. Sheila Montague.
Hello, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Good evening, yes. So I was trying to post a number on social media so that other people can call in if they like. But so let me just start by saying thank you for having us on your platform. Again, my name is Sheila Montague. I am A5 on the ballot. What my platform basically is, well, let's start with my slogan, is Newark schools could do better. At the end of the day, I don't think that anybody can argue that because we're like at the bottom. I don't know how much lower we can go in terms of academia, in terms of so many things. So let me start these things because they are part of my platform. First and foremost, student well-being. There is a horrible nutrition protocol that they're running. The kids don't have adequate lunch. When I was growing up in Newark, we counted on as kids breakfast and lunch, and it was good, right? Even in Shabazz, we had pizza if we wanted it. We could get salad if we wanted it, or there would always be some choices. I remember we had cold cut sandwiches or whatever. The kids are not getting it. They're not eating. Many of them are not eating breakfast or lunch. That is problematic for a host of different health reasons, right? So with that, let's unpack that a little bit. And again, we're talking about student well-being, mental health, the school climate, the water that is still questionable. And I've got to bring back to the same mayor who chose these school board candidates is the same mayor that told us repeatedly as a city that our water was clean, to don't believe the haters, people are just running off at the mouth. And lo and behold, to this day, there's still water issues that exist because just because you change the pipes doesn't mean that the water is not going to be contaminated anymore. So, again, we're talking student well-being. We're talking about them needing extremes amount of social interaction, especially off the heels of COVID. Never in my lifetime did we have to spend a year, much less two, in the house with no type of social activity with our peers. So the kids are still reeling from that situation, but there's not enough trips and different things to expose them to different levels of social interaction because the money has to go for them to take lavish trips to Honolulu and all of these other places that, I post about this a lot. And, it's just wrong on so many levels to sit on the school board where you have a city. And I just want to say something to extend on what my running peer just mentioned about Roger Leone. I, too, was in receipt of that video. I think about 15 to 20 people sent me that video today. And I just couldn't help to really just examine how I felt at that moment, just a self-reflection. I've been watching black kids that look like me get killed all year, right? And to see them partying, right, I'm telling you, it hit different. It was a lot to unpack in that video. To see them just partying after all the young people that we lost this year. And we're not just losing kids to homicides on the street. We're losing kids to the jail system. We're losing kids to suicide. We're losing kids in so many, just a plethora of ways. And it's like, wow, like you guys are actually partying. And then it's so confusing because as an adult, right, I have 3 adult children. As an adult, I'm trying to understand how I see adults at the council meetings. Right? I see adults, and I don't want to say any names, and I'm not going to. I see adults who have publicly came on social media to say that they're suing them either for housing situations or this, that, or a third. But now y'all all at the parties together taking pictures and laughing and joking. That's clown behavior. It's not adult behavior, and you don't look like you stand for anything. So when we talk about we want transparency, in discrimination acts that go on in the school, like global studies, for example, because there's other schools that those incidents are definitely documented and occurring. But when we talk about things like that, we have to talk about how we look as adults, laughing, kikiing, and cacaing with the same people who don't care. You do not care. Kids are dying. You do not care that when you kill off the youth and you're not protecting the youth, that you're not protecting our future as a people. Where are our future leaders at? So, again, student well-being, getting back to, my platform, the curriculum and instruction. I keep saying we just want the basics here. No schools can be better. We're talking phonics. This is not rocket science. We're talking about level readers. It's really that simple. Level readers teach kids how to read. It is not Chinese arithmetic. This is like ludicrous. Re-evaluate what they're doing with inclusion. So now, not only are the students who are suffering academically in the same classes with the kids who are not suffering and they're being held back, we don't even really have a gifted and talented class anymore. But now you're also putting hordes and hordes of immigrants in these classrooms who can't speak English at all. So now the learning time is cut in 3 parts. Now we have to cater to them too, even though as teachers we cannot speak Spanish, many of us, because, of course, we don't have money to put into training to get the teachers to speak Spanish in the classrooms because, again, people got to go on lavish trips and have dinner. But I'm going to start to close this because I have a couple of other things. It's education and equity, parent community engagement, and school safety and inclusivity. I think that those are all self-explanatory. But at the end of the day, these issues can't begin to be addressed until the community stands up. And if the community is not going to stand up, we're going to continue to have even worse problems. Not these, but even worse. Biden came out today, and he was saying that, African Americans are in trouble. Like, we got some things to worry about. You think? So I'm going to just stop right there, and, I'll share more as we go on. But thank you for the opportunity to share out, and I look forward to hearing your advice and what others have to say this evening.
We have Brother Coulter, Shay Coulter in. Okay, we'll skip over Coulter. We'll come back to him. Muta Alani.
Peace and blessings to all. How's everybody doing today?
Well, brother. Well.
All right, so we got some soul searching to do. First and foremost, Muta Alamein. It takes a village. 8-8, running on the line with Jay Coulter, 8-7. And we're 2 dads that are doing what we need to do to step up. What everybody has been asking, what Black American has been asking Black men to do. Step up, step up, step up. And what we see is that when Black men step up, they put money, they put resources into curbing our voices. They trick people into believing that we're dangerous. And, I want to go off onto a little tangent for a second because something happened the other day that was very alarming. And I appreciate Ms. Montague for stepping in and voicing herself where me voicing myself would have made me look less than a man. So what ends up happening is that debate that went on at the Newark Library, it was staged. And I'm saying this not because this is something that I believe. When I was one of the first candidates there, and I placed myself in the back of the room on purpose. And when I placed myself in the back of the room, the stuff that I heard coming from the moderators, it was extremely disheartening. So I didn't know that Ms. Cole wasn't a moderator because her and the moderators were both talking the same talk about how if somebody doesn't answer a question the way they see fit, they wasn't going to allow this, and whatever the case may be. And that's when Miss Montague came in, and all of a sudden, that energy shifted towards her being the bad person. And I just want people to understand that when the powers that be work that hard in order to sabotage a legitimate operation, we in a different place. Also, the mail-in ballots, some of the mail-in ballots that came in had the wrong date. They had the 18th on it. And we sit in here and we calm. We're supposed to be calm, and we're supposed to not get, but at some point, it's like when is enough? We know that everything is not fair. We know that this is not fair, and we know that if we continue down this line, we're going to continue to get what we're getting. And it's like, it's hard for me to tell the people that saying, yo, is voting real? Why should I believe in voting? And seeing the process, it's hard for me to say, yo, yeah, your voice matters. You're going to get a fair shake, when I know they had hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars to make sure that their message went to every house. They had hundreds of thousands of dollars to make sure that when events was thrown all over the city, that there was stacks and stacks of their paraphernalia, even though these were city programs. So what I want to know is, are we going to get, like, what's the cost of that? So did they rent the venue in order to put their own paraphernalia inside these events, because these are city-owned, city properties and city events? Are we as taxpayers promoting that? It's just a bunch of disheartening things that's going on, and I appreciate you. I appreciate you for having me on the show, and I'll get into more later. Thank you.
Is Jay Coulter here yet? Okay, Susan? Okay. Are you muted? Are you muted?
I'm excited for the candidates for April the 16th. I feel like I'm running. I just can't wait. I want to know. And I just want to say I wish you all well. One of the things that we have to think about is we really got to get down to the nitty-gritty. We're all down for the count right now. And I'm just wondering, on April 16th, do you hear echo, Mr. Williams? I'm sorry.
Yes, I do hear that.
Okay, I think that's better.
We'll see what happens.
Yes, on April 16th, I'd like to know from Miss Deborah Salters, A1, put some sauce on it. Where are you going to be on April 16th, Miss Salters?
Okay, so I am most likely going to be traveling the polls. I know once the system where I vote, I will definitely be there. But I'm looking to be mobile, which I am. Like I tell people, my office is everywhere you are when they ask me, because I'm everywhere you are. And so, yeah, that's what I plan to be doing, in the streets, as I always am, on April 16th.
Awesome. Ms. Montague, where are you going to be at on April 16th?
Ms. Montague is going to be at work because Ms. Montague has the mortgage to pay. And
okay.
and that's it. That's what it is. I could take a day off, but it really doesn't make a difference. I'm going to tell you where the situation gets really hairy at, right? It's not the day of the election. When people are coming in, people really don't want to be bothered. They kind of already know who they're voting for by the time they're going to the actual polls. That's what I learned over the course of the last 10 years. But this is where the situation gets hairy at. When the polls close and those polling machines come out of the polling location, They are all picked up by the mayor's people. They are at that point transported down to the county in a room. So it looks like it's going to a neutral party, but that's not the case. It just goes to a room where there is absolutely no oversight on what happens next. And that is my understanding of this election for the last 10 years. And as a result, they win every single year. And I noticed that in other instances where there were elections and different things that occurred, they had not one but two lawyers present to ensure the ballot count. And so if they're doing that for them, the reason that they're doing it because they've seen other people or other elections that didn't have that and it didn't pan out fairly. So I would say that the biggest thing that we have to do is to have a lawyer there to be honest, if the people voted for the other team and it's all fair and square, I'm not a hater, I'm a competitor, so that's all good with me. But I have the problem of the cheating, right? I know for a fact that up in the Westport, we have pastors up here that used to be council women that have trap doors that lead from their church to the polling room. I've been doing this for a long time now. I know, like, all of the places that are busy cheating, telling people that can't speak English who to vote for, going in under the curtains with them. I'm not even up for all of that stress. Like I said, if somebody's going to go in there and vote for me, great. I'm not going to be in there going under the curtain. I'm not going to be arguing back and forth with people. The argument needs to be one of legality. We need a lawyer, if at least one, that can go into that building at the county when the polling sites close, and we can have a fair shot at having those ballots counted fairly. Because the other part of that is the mail-in ballot. You're only supposed to take, by law, 3 mail-in ballots. That's the very max that you can take in. Like, I got 7 voters in my household alone. So I can't take me, my husband, my kids. I can't take all of these people's, mail-in ballots downtown. You can only take 3 in at a time. We have people like Chanel McLeod, that debate down at the museum, taking Project Ready, taking in bags and bags of mail-in ballots on the day of the election. No way is that legal. No way should that even ever happen, but it is happening. And I'm putting that out there in hopes that somebody has some ideas on how we could derail that from continuing to occur, because it's a problem and it weighs heavily on the outcomes of the election.
So you have to finish up with Mutra, and then Che Kotu will come in.
Peace and blessings. So for Tuesday, I'm gonna be out, still disseminating flyers. Also, I'm gonna be driving past the mail-in sites. I'm gonna have a couple vehicles out blaring and saying, it takes a village, get out and vote. So that's what me and my partner gonna be doing for Tuesday, making sure that we, try to get as much visibility as possible. If what I've been hearing from the street and social media is any indication to what's going to happen, I'm not going to lie. I even though they got the money, I feel as though we still have a chance based upon the response I've been getting, i.e., I've only been able to, actually physically contact maybe 7,000 people. So out of the 7,000 people, that's where I'm drawing my summation from, because about 98% just said they want something different. And that's just organic people that I'm walking across, doors that I'm knocking, events that I'm showing up at. So I feel pretty good, and so I'm just make sure that try to get the people in the areas that I'm familiar with to go out and vote. And, hopefully we could change something.
Brother Jay Coulter.
I'm about to give Jay Coulter a call right now.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Jay, that's you?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
All right. Yes. Well, good evening. It takes a village. I literally just came from the North Ward from knocking on some doors on Mount Pleasant, and residents not only have a language barrier with understanding the taxpayer waste, the Creed report, and the entire challenge that's really on parents and students. What we're hearing is they want to change the direction because they see that there's not only big money in our local politics, but there's confusion amongst the actual quality of education that's being presented to the residents of the city of Newark. Just to give an example, not only do we see the mayor and the current board roll out a very late citywide literacy plan, they have a 10-point literacy plan. Now, one of the components of that was supposed to start in the summertime. You don't wait until the season of the actual assessment that the state of New Jersey is giving Newark children. You don't wait until the season of the assessment to start having a citywide academic discussion. That happens way before the children are being tested. And the incident with the third graders failing, although some of them did fail, and we know that there is an academic state of emergency, that testing was just one point in time. It does not reflect the full greatness, definitely from a position of Afrocentricity. It doesn't reflect the full greatness because it's one point in time, and there's still several gifted and talented children throughout the 45,000 students that are in Newark Board of Education. So 45,000 students, 5,600 employees, and the Board of Education is supposed to be the legislative extension of good policies being presented to the administration and passed as resolutions so that the superintendent is following the rules and the legislation that the school board is passing. In addition to that, we're hearing from parents and we're hearing from residents who have already graduated students through a system that they want the system to not only have improved technology, improved, safer transportation for special education population, because on the campaign trail with the It Takes a Village, we've been encountering not only special education students, gifted and talented, we're running into parents who want STEAM education, science, technology, arts, engineering, and math, not just in the classroom, but they want the extracurricular programs and the after-school programs to reflect not only STEM and Afrocentricity, but if we're dealing with children that are violent or displaying behaviors of anger, instead of taking punitive measures in the school system by pushing them from the classroom to the courtroom onto juvenile probation, which we all know what that leads to. That's kind of how these schools are set up. If the child is not a high academic performer, then we end up seeing them oftentimes on probation and not being able to graduate on time. And It Takes a Village prepares the student much further ahead of assessment season, as you see currently. And our expectation is for every student in the city to have a library card and to raise our citywide literacy scores. That's a key component of our campaign.
Okay, well, brother,
I know I got on a little bit late, but if there's any questions, I know this show reins in a lot of accountability. We're talking $1.5 billion. For example, last year they spent $10,500,000 on curriculum materials, and we don't even know if that was an adequate amount of curriculum materials that they spent $10 million on in 2023-24. So for the 24-25 budget, we need to see what they're spending on for classroom materials, special education resources, and to root out nepotism in the after-school procurement of making the after-school budget available to community-based organizations, not an in-crowd of political folks who may not even have an expertise with the kids, with the children. We want to, have the after-school programs available for actual therapeutic institutions that are going to bring in their professionals, whether they're retired teachers, whether they're Board of Education alumni who still live local. They should be able to locally participate in our educational ecosystem. We currently feel that the door of transparency is closed on them, and the processes for people who have matriculated through Board of Education that want to participate in the school district become being repositioned as a great district. They have so much red tape that Board of Education alumni have been discouraged. So that's why we're in this, to bring the village back, to allow the door to be open for Newark's talent to come back and come out of the shadows that's already here. We have so much talent right in Newark, but we have to bring the talent out of the shadows and get these parents on board to never allowing something like what happened at the global studies, that racism situation. We're not going to be deterred by that, and we're going to hold the board accountable as ourselves being board members, because we envision ourselves already on the board in the types of areas that we would hold the superintendent on. The long-range facilities plan, the strategic plan, and the comprehensive equity plan are three very important documents that the school board develops their year plan, and then each meeting they're passing votes that is essentially over time implementing that plan. But when your annual agenda becomes diverted by politics, the students immediately lose out. And Mutai and myself are in this to give the students a fair shake. We don't feel that they've been receiving a fair shake the last 3 years, which is why we want to impact change for the next 3 years by getting on the school board.
Thank you, Brother Colton. One thing about the low voter turnout. Low voter turnout. I just want to make one statement about that. Hopefully, Brother Mutai and Brother Che said they've been knocking on doors, and they may have knocked on 5,000 doors or such as that. Now, it's interesting to note that in the last election, only 3% of the people eligible to vote showed up. And that balanced out to about 1.5% of all black people in Newark came out to vote. 1.5. That means almost 99% of them didn't show up. Now, if Mutai and Brother are knocking on doors, at least that many doors, that's a lot of doors. I'd like to know if anybody's been knocking on doors in the East Ward because they have a little village down there, and they pretty much tell those people how to vote. And they have a lot of people there who maybe not eligible to vote, because it seems to me that there's some people voting in the election who are not citizens in this country. That should be looked into. When they start counting those votes, especially from the East Ward, people need to look into it and see whether all those people who are voting are eligible to vote by virtue of being here a specified period of time. Number one, we know. Number two, we know that there are people who are taking buses from Texas. Somebody's making noises here, please. I can't have the noises. They're bringing buses in from Texas, and the buses go from Texas to New York, and then they give them money to get on a subway, and they come to Newark. Now, if you live in Costa Rica or Honduras or someplace like that recently, and then you come to Newark, have you been in Newark long enough to vote? And maybe you have a child in school, but have you been here long enough to vote? I'm not just picking on Honduras and also Tegucigalpa. I'm not just picking on Costa Rica or even Puerto Rico. Puerto Ricans, though, are citizens of America, so that's a whole different group of people. So, but I wonder, are there people, and do you know, do you have an idea, any of you, and more than that, do you have an idea, are any of you knocking on doors in the East Ward? I'd just like to ask that question, because if only 3% show up in this election, with 160,000 people eligible to vote, the winners should get about 4,800 votes each. Since there are 10 candidates, obviously nobody's going to get 4,800 votes. But if people are out there knocking on doors, shouldn't the voter rolls be higher on the 16th of the month of April? If not, we are in big trouble, because 3% of the total voting is a farce. 1.5% of black people that Fannie Lou Hamer bled and died for, and that many black people fought for the right to vote. And for you to say you have nothing to vote for, you do have something to vote for, your children. So I wonder if anybody wanted to tackle that point real quick.
Well, it's a direct need. It's a direct call of action that civics must be taken up not only by the students, but the adults have to exercise the civics as well. So we would be hitting civics, presenting a form of civics training that is not only incorporating the student, but citywide matters, where both the student and their families are taking this stuff on. I think a lot of people forget that in order for a fair jury to be picked, you have to be a registered voter. So there's a lot of civic education and opportunities for us to utilize the Board of Education how it's never been used before, as one of the last gatekeepers of democracy in Newark, because essentially whoever's at that lower end of the class system in Newark doesn't get represented. And we as a people have been through that before, and what do we see in this national situation? Pretty much a very invasive, I call it almost an invasion on the inner cities in some instances, because we're already under a lot of medical distress, economic distress, and now in this instance, academic distress. And and I'll throw it to Deborah, but one of the past U.S. presidents said that education is an issue of national defense. So if we're raising, if our children are not meeting the scores, then that means that they're not fit to survive.
Okay, so to answer to answer your question about knocking on doors in the East Ward, because that's my area, right? So, yes, the issue is when you or when I encounter those who pretend like sometimes they don't understand English, but they do, I still engage. I do what's called Spanglish. I'll talk to them in Spanish and English mixed together, because they understand what they want to understand. Also, another mailer went out that Silva and Teresa Ruiz are supporting Vinhas. She's the candidate of the East Ward. And I said, well, no, she's not, because nobody really knows who she is in the East Ward. I am the candidate of the East Ward because that's where I live and thrive, as well as the rest of the city. But in the area where I'm on the streets with the homeless, I'm on the streets attempting to get people jobs. I'm on the streets. She does what? She works for Silva, who is the councilman, his civic association. And she's known for with Teresa Ruiz. So that's why she's the candidate for the East Ward, because they said so. And I say no. So, yes, I have encountered, because there are a lot of black people in the East Ward that a lot of people don't know about. They don't want us to be a part of the East Ward because they want it to be Latina and Portuguese, and they want it to be their own world, but it is not. We are in the East Ward as well. And so, yes, I have encountered it, but I do not get discouraged by it because, as you heard, there have been people, and you yourself, Susan, said you lived in the East Ward. You went to the schools there. So I know even seniors, black seniors who have thrived 13, 17 years in the East Ward. So it's a matter of us not feeding into the narrative or the hype that they want us to feed into. We are everywhere in this city and heavily in the East Ward. The challenge comes where, getting them to vote because they're so jaded because of what has been, and I have encountered people who said, well, sis, on the strength that you running, all right. They straight up told me from the beginning, I don't get involved, I don't vote. And as I talk to them, they're like, you know what, give me that. Give me a couple more of those flyers, but on the strength of what you're saying, because once you empower the people and let them know that they do matter, it doesn't matter that we've been beat down and stepped on and told that we don't matter and this is our ward and this is what we do. Once the blinders, and what I call is the mist, right? Somebody sprayed the mist in your face, and now you're mesmerized like, oh, well, this is what things are and how we, supposed to do it. But when I throw the cold water in their face, and it's like, oh, wait a minute, I've been mesmerized. I've been sleepwalking. Like, okay, I see now. Once we do that, once we throw the cold water in the faces of our people and wake them up out of that trance that they've been in, and, give them the antidote to the poison Kool-Aid, then they awake. But that's been the hardest. I don't even want to say hard because I don't find it hard because when you're called to do a thing or when you love what you do, you never work a day in your life. So the most challenging part has been to awaken our people who have been slumbering and who have allowed themselves to be lulled to sleep, right? And so to wake them out of that sleepwalk it's also refreshing and revitalizing because as I tell them, we're building a coalition to take our schools back, to save our children, and to take our city back. And so, yes, I have knocked on doors. I've had these conversations, and all of them are not pretty, and a lot of them will be like, oh, well, do you know Dawn? And I literally had this conversation. I was like, yeah, I know Dawn, but did you know this? And I break down the situation of what's been going on the board, and they're like, oh, my God, I didn't know that. I didn't know that, but you just answered a bunch of questions for me. So, yes, to answer your question, sir, the doors are knocked on, the conversations are being had in the East Ward, and I'm seeing more and more posters. And then I also have friends that are Latina and Boricua, and they said they've been telling the people about me. They have shops, but we'll see, But yes, it's been going on.
Susan? Okay. Let's go to Miss Montague.
Oh, okay. So for this election, I have not been knocking on any doors in the East Ward whatsoever. But because I live my life in a way that I'm like at service to the community for 24/7, I have a background of working with them all the time. So when somebody calls me from the East Ward and they need a letter written, I'll write it. If somebody needs me to go to landlord-tenant court with them, I'll go. Continuously, we have had rallies down there to help with housing. There's always a housing situation going on. I help. If it's something with traffic, I help. Anytime they have situations with the high-rises that are coming down there that they don't want, I help. So I've already established a 10-year foundation with them, being a partner of somebody who's going to come and help as much as I possibly can. So and so I'm friends with, from coaching basketball, the sports moms that live down there. I'm friends with a lot of people that do other types of activities in the Iron Valley section. I was a partner with the Water Coalition group down there. So I'm a part of all the groups down there, so I haven't been knocking on doors, but that's also, like I said, it's the way that I live. Like, we're just a part of what's going on in Newark, even if it's outside of education. And that's not, I haven't gotten comfortable. I just haven't had the time. When I get off work, I'm exhausted before I get back to Newark. I just don't have the time, and I don't have the manpower to help. So, no, I honestly, I have not been down there knocking on doors this election. No.
One of the things about the East, the only place that I have been able to go is by Eastside High School, and I know Mutad was invited by a tenant rights organization there. So there is a coalition in the East Ward that will vote in the school board election. With that being said, they also are a very soulful community. The South American citizens that have chosen to move to Newark, Brazil, Colombia, Ecuador. The Portuguese were already there, but they've been in Newark for a long time. And the psychoeconomics around their representation versus our South American brothers and sisters is a little bit different, in the sense that the South American citizens that are coming to Newark from Ecuador, Colombia, Brazil, and Uruguay, and Mexico have, because of the Abbott 1 case and the Abbott 2 cases and all that, arguing around school segregation in Jersey through the 90s and 2000s, they explore school choice in the Spanish community. We have still a larger discussion in the black community to have around school choice, but there's great charter school down there. A lot of the charter school parents don't really vote. The majority of my family went to Newark Board of Education. My niece is at university. My son attends North Star Academy, but I believe that the charter schools need more accountability. But with that being said, the East Ward, the charter school parents that I know down there, and the public school historical district parents I know down there are mostly soccer parents. But we have pretty much been in our base, and we have been to the East Ward, but we're really almost in the fourth quarter, and the East Ward issues kind of culminate into, that's how Venhas is represented on our opposition's team, because I abruptly noticed the other day, next to one of my favorite restaurants, I look across the street and it says Venhas Jewelers. So it's not that she probably has not been around politics. She probably just hasn't been like in the front side of politics. And a lot of times you see people come out of the shadows into working with these establishment folks. And, that's an East Ward issues thing. But we need to be focused on citywide. And, I just wanted to throw that in there, that the South American community, they have a much different perception around education than some of the things that we'll hear the media try to use divide and conquer tactics on us. The school, they have Eastside, they have several other schools within walking distance of Penn Station, and they are advocating an issue of overcrowding. Deborah is aware of it. The other candidates are aware of it, but Deborah, I know, got involved with something at Eastside High School. She could speak to it, but I know for a fact from studying the facilities plan of the district, they want to have their own contractors build their schools so that their schools are done on time down there. And the councilman down there, he's friends with all of the builders that are older that own companies down there. So they want to be able to have like new construction on Eastside High School, and then those charter schools that are down there, they're on their own. They have to do their own facilities money. They can't come to North Board of Ed and get facilities money. So they're doing a whole push for Eastside High School to have, be treated with a representative voice of them being a part of the city, But ironically, the South Ward has been the last ward to receive construction of the original construction money that came in before Cammie Anderson came, and University High School was supposed to have an expansion as well as potentially an expansion of some in-district magnet school seats, possibly in the East Ward or in the South, Deborah, Sheila, and Muta. Dayton Street School is technically in the South Ward, but that school is right now an empty building, and I've been trying to advocate for them not to tear it down, but for them to maybe make it, maybe that school, expanding magnet seats to the South and the East. Parents that are in the East and in the South are still attached to the tenant rights issue, and that is a part of our school experience. So we're hopeful that those folks also participate so that it's not, 3%, that it's higher than that. We get like 1/3 of the city out to vote, even with this being a non-mayoral election year, for them to make their voices heard, that there was people like Fannie Lou Hamer, there were people like the second president of my college at Cheney University, Octavius Cato. He died on the streets of Philadelphia fighting for voting rights. And they actually had a voting rights law in the city of Philadelphia 100 years before the civil rights federal law. And they murdered Octavius Cato on the streets of Philadelphia. The Klan did. But he was the second principal leader of Cheney University. At that time, it was the Institute of the Colored Youth. This was in Philadelphia, and that same school ended up becoming Cheney University. But Cheney University was very instrumental in this whole issue around voting rights historically in the post-Reconstruction era. And now here we are having to reawaken our people that these are the very elements of our citizenship that our ancestors died for. And if we're not voting, then we're not even being representative of how we're supposed to stand up as men and women in this country.
Yes. I want to
throw it to Muta.
I like.
Susan?
Yes, I think, did Chase say something about Muta?
Oh, no, I was just saying thank you. Yeah, I was just saying thank you. I was putting it back to you, Ms. Newton. No problem.
Surely. No worries. I have a two-tier question. We're down to the nitty-gritty. April 16th is countdown. It's the elections. If you do win, what will be the first thing you would do when you're in office? And if you do not win, what are you going to still do? So I would like to ask all the candidates that question. What's next?
Well,
Let's just say what's next. After, if you win, what's next? If you don't win, what's next? Let me put it like that. Thank you very much.
Okay.
We can start with you.
All right. Deborah Salters, A1. So if I win, or when I win. The first thing is to hold us accountable, like immediately. There's no parties, there's no anything like that. It's like, okay, who's here? Let's get to work. Let's start, okay, like put it together. What do we have? Where's the best place to start? We're going to have to sit down and get this together. We know what the issues are, and we need to jump on it immediately. And that would be the first thing that we would need to do. Hopefully it's with the new members that are running. That way it won't be a bunch of foolishness. We can jump in with Williams and get started. We're going to expose the Creed report. That would be immediate.
Yes.
Okay. Get this Creed report and let's go. And then we'll start from there, along with, like I said, the reorganization, what we need to do. But that Creed report has to come out. No is not an answer. It has been way past time. And if I don't have a seat on that board, I will continue to do what I'm doing and make the cry heard even the more. You have to get involved. We have to get up. We have to know that, what we do matters. Our voices matter. I will not stop holding them accountable. Trust me, if I do not get a seat on that board, they're going to wish I did because I will be even more on their cases, and I will have more of the community on their cases because this is not it. You understand? And if I'm on the board, we're going to tackle those committees that people are sitting on. And like with Adorian, she didn't grow out of the space. She didn't do anything with the space. I believe she was on the education board, And so those committees, like I said, we're going to attack those committees. And what I mean by attack, I mean just that. All right, let's go. Game plan. People's lives are on the line. Let's go. And that's it. Rally together and do something different, right? Because in order to get what you never had, you have to do what you've never done, right? And talk to the students and let them know, hey, we're here. This is new. You're going to be able to vote next year. So let's start with this civics. We need to let you understand the process and what's really going on. So that's what it'll be. On the board, like I said, hopefully with the new members, we're all on the board together. That way it's 5 of us because Williams is there already fighting. And we can get these committees straight. We can get the students straight. And we can have a brighter day. Because 1A1 is getting it done.
Thank you so much for that, Sheila. Also, I'm sorry, Deborah. Sheila, you're next. Women first. The same question. If you in fact win, what do you plan to do first? And also, what's next if you don't win? Both ways, actually.
Okay, so the first thing I want to do is really have an opportunity to look at the budget and those line items to see if there's anything that we could do instantaneously to redirect those funds so that they're reaching in the classroom. Another thing that I would like to do is to immediately start a safety campaign in all the schools. One thing about the Board of Education, it is so extremely top-heavy. There are so many people who are getting top salaries, and they aren't doing anything, that I would be able to take all 5 components of my platform and make sure that I put a person behind them to make sure that they are immediately implemented. And again, that's the safety campaign that I would like to do. For one, the parent and community engagement, because it's a farce. Right now, like I said, no parent showed up at the end of none of these debates at this point. There are no parents showing up, but there are thugs, all types of other people that are showing up that should have nothing to do with what's going on. But yet today, I went to an event, and they literally had hundreds of parents there. Hundreds of parents knew nothing, young parents knew nothing about this school board election on Tuesday. hundreds of young parents. They had no idea. And they became a little irate because their questions were legitimate. They were asking, well, wait a minute. Well, why don't we know about the election? Well, why aren't we hearing about the people who want to run? You understand what I'm saying? So, again, we have to do something prior, right? We're always in a space where we're getting ready and we're not already prepared and ready, knowing that this same election comes around every year. So parent community engagement, there has to be a campaign that is sponsored by a lot of that, some of that $1.5 billion that we have, and there's monies that are earmarked for parent and community engagement. So we got to make sure that that money is reaching the right place. Also, education and equity. There has never been unilateral anything in Newark when it comes to education. You can go far back as possible. There's never been unilateral guidelines to anything, and it's just not. But for whatever reason right now, the schools in the Latino community, even in charter schools, are suffering in terms of test scores. So we have to do some digging and start up with a 5-point plan, not 10 like the mayor has. That's excessive. You want to set goals that you can achieve in real time. Short-term goals will allow you to not only execute, but to come back to reassess, to tweak where and when necessary. Also, student well-being. This is something that students would love to take leadership in their schools. And again, this is a campaign. A strategic campaign, but this is something that could be done immediately. And last but not least, curriculum and instruction. There are so many great plans that go forward, and I know because they steal the plans from other people, but they never are able to implement them correctly. So the one thing that I would do, I would have, if possible, like I said, you have to assess what you can do and what you can't do. But I know one thing that needs to be done is those level readers. That's all you need to teach kids how to read. This is insane to me. Phonics. They have a program, but again, it's not being implemented. The truth to be told, they say that they have a civics program, but still, again, it's not being implemented. And you know it's not if the parents aren't even receiving flyers to a school board election coming up. So that's problematic. They don't want them to know that. They don't want them to come out to vote. I also want to see these specialty schools, what exactly are they doing? I would like to see some proof, some data, like what are they doing? And I'm speaking specifically to the business schools. Yesterday, I mentioned on a post with one of the constituents here in the community, she's a community advocate as well, Seda, and it was funny how I mentioned agriculture because when we've had different council people here in the city of Newark, we had gardens. We don't have that anymore. And I asked about it, and less than 17 hours later, there was a post that went up that said that they're going to start some school into doing something with agriculture, right? And so these are the types of things that I would start immediately. And what was the last question? I'm sorry, the last part of that question.
Sheila, if you don't win, I'm sorry, I had myself on mute because I didn't want any noise in the background. I'm so sorry.
What would you do while you're on the board?
Sheila,
I couldn't hear both of y'all. I couldn't hear both of you. Somebody else was talking.
Okay,
I apologize.
the question. Sure, no worries.
Just the latter part.
Sure. What would you do next if you don't win, Sheila?
My advocacy doesn't stop. I committed my life to doing what it is that I do now. So win, lose, or draw, I'm still going to be doing exactly what I'm doing now, advocating for people. Ever since I beat cancer, I just personally feel that I raised my kids. Like I said, I watched my son almost get killed in these streets 3 different times, and my son is not a street person. And that let me know to the magnitude of the crime and violence that's taking place in this city. So this is not something I'm doing for the election. This is a way of life for me. I'm absolutely appalled that churches are not giving a damn to help out or participate in what's going on. I'm appalled that there's an elite class of black people who have turned their backs on what they feel is the lower class of black people. I think I don't even have the words to describe that situation in totality. but I'm appalled by it, so I'm gonna just stop right there. And no, so this is a way of life to me, and I'm gonna do it until I die. And no matter how much they try to cut me down, I don't even care if I fall down. I'm gonna fall 5 foot 8 feet 8 inches forward, because we're gonna do this to the death. We're gonna do this so I can't breathe no more. I don't care if I'm old in a wheelchair. If we're fighting for something, I pray that somebody rolls me out, because I am not gonna lay down. I am not gonna allow what continues to happen in this community. And I think that I'm a person who can fight it, because, like I said, I'm very patient. I understand how to strategically move, because it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. And so anybody that gets involved in this type of civil rights movement, because that's exactly what it is, they're going to be disappointed if come election day and it's like, oh, well, I thought we were going to win. Yeah, I would hope that we would win, right? But at the end of the day, there's been a specific pattern of behavior, and not just here in the city of Newark, in other urban communities as well. So, no, nothing's going to change for me except the next way that we're going to attain a platform and make sure that we keep pushing for liberation and progression of our people overall and in general. A5, Shalom, you're on the ballot.
That's right. Okay. Muta, also with you.
Yes, how are you? Muta,
I'm fine, sir. How are you?
Bless. All right, you gonna ask the question, or let me get the full dose.
Okay, the question is, sir, what are you, if you win that seat, what is the first thing you're going to do, Muta? The first thing you're going to do immediately, and if you don't win, what's next for you, sir?
So, Muta Al-Amin, 8-8, it takes a village. First thing I do day one, we pressure check Roger Leone. So what happens is there has to be a line that we understand that you're our employee, right? So the first things first, I want to get that established, that you are my employee. I don't know how they function, right? I don't know how they're used to functioning, but I'm sure that you're my employee. And my orders come from the community. So the first thing we want to do is make mandatory parent engagement. So the thing is, they don't have any books no more. All of the lessons go on ditto sheets. Were you trying to tell me you can't send a ditto out to the child, to let the parents know when things are happening? I just find that very disingenuous, that nobody knows anything, but yet you have all the information in these facilities. Why isn't this information being disseminated? So number one, I want to tighten up on information dissemination when it comes to getting our parents and our families informed. Also, introducing a safe passage program, which would be hand in hand with the parents in the community. So we need the parents in the community to be a part of the safe passage program in order for it to work. So that's why I would like to engage the community to see who wants to get involved, who has time, where are the grandmothers at that are retired, that want to be involved in making the community together, creating those bonds like that. So that's one thing that I want to. When I get in, if I get in, that's one of the things I want to focus on immediately and put pressure on. If I do not get in, currently this is what we do. So the people that are on the call, these are the people that have been doing the work. It's not an office appointment that we calling to. This is a calling that we're calling to. This is purpose that we're walking in. So I'll continue to do the same thing I've been doing. Continue to run my own community center. We have the summertime coming up, so of course we're going to be doing summer programming. I would like to take the kids on some different trips this year. So if we have any people who want to sponsor trips, we're going to be the Bradley Court Community Center is going to be going on the trips this summer, as well as cleaning up the neighborhood, making the neighborhood a better place. So this is like it's like I said, it's a purpose for me. So being the candidate for the Board of Education, it fell in line with the purpose. So I see my kids were doing bad. I seen that this system is out of whack. So it forced me to step up to the calling. Had everything been going well, I would love to, do other things. I could have been running 2 or 3 social programs right now. I kind of had to put everything on pause to get this thing running because, like Sheila Montague said, that door-to-door thing is arduous. And, even when you're doing door-to-door, even the people who say they don't like what's going on, the chances of them people walking outside their door on Tuesday and going in to punch that ballot is slim. And that's just the reality of where we're at. So I plan to continue to do what we're doing. I consider myself to be a social reformer. So in that, I create social programs for disenfranchised communities, which is my community per se. So if that answers everything, my name is Muta El Amin, A8 on the ballot. It takes a village. I'm running with Che Coulter, A7. It takes a village. Peace and blessings.
Hey, I have a question.
Yes.
Hello?
Yes.
Yes. Ask a question, please.
Yes. My name is Fatima, and I'm from Atlantic City, New Jersey. This is a question for Mr. Williams. The sisters talked about having a lawyer and being at the polls. I've been studying about you. Will you be out at the polls?
Excuse me? You're asking me a question?
Yes. That's for Mr. Williams.
Okay. I don't participate at the polls. My job is as a person who's bringing together individuals who are trying to vote. I'm not taking any sides in the election. And so what I'm doing for the community is having any and all candidates who are interested in discussing the issues to actually bring them to us on this forum, Combating Systemic Racism Through Education. Number one. Number two, that being the case, only 4 of the candidates have chosen to come on week after week after week after week. So because of that, we are here to listen to their issues and to add on to their issues and to better inform the people as to what the problems are. To begin with, Roger Leone has to go. This man must be removed because he is a detrimental force in the community for black people, number one. And number two, Dawn Hayes and Ms. Venus and this other woman, Santana, they have to go because they are part of the institution, the problem in the city. Ms. Venus, for instance, I understand her only claim to fame to be in this election and be supported by Mayor Ralph Baraka is that she sells jewelry and she's a Portuguese woman. That's her claim to fame, selling jewelry in Portuguese. Well, black people love jewelry, but they also need to learn how to read and write. So my only role in this election is to bring the people together who want to change. And the only way I can do that is to have people listen in on this station, on the podcast here. After listening in on the podcast, they get a chance to know what candidates are for what. And as a result, they can go out and tell their neighbors, and they can get people to come out and vote. My only role in this then is to merely educate and inform, and I have nothing to do with the election. And for one thing for sure, the election, even if it's a fair election, it's one where you have goons and people like those that were at the Tuesday meeting where they assaulted, verbally assaulted Che Coulter and Muta Alameen, and one woman wanted to fight with Mrs. Montague, and there was no security there. I noticed that the NACP had a forum. Nobody was there to support and protect the people, yet there's a person that came and disrupted it. Another meeting where children were having a meeting, asking questions, and it was supposed to be from 11 to 12, 11 to 1, and they only allowed a 1-hour meeting because they decided they just wouldn't be there any further. They'd go home. Now they're having a forum on Monday. I don't know, maybe Muta could tell us the name of it. On Monday, called Parents, Educating Parents. Is that it, Muta? Is that what it's called?
Yeah, educator. Okay, I have been listening, and I do see that you have been a great educator, and you have answered the question that I was going to ask you. That what are your plans to make a difference? I've heard that. Did your children attend the North school systems? Did your children? Do you have kids? Do you have children?
Do I have children? Yes. I have adult children, and I don't believe my children ever attended school in Newark. They did attend public school anyway. They attended Chad School, which is an African free school, and my children attended that school. That's the only school they attended in Newark. And but I was a student in Newark. I grew up in Newark. I was born in a segregated hospital in Newark, in the basement where black women had their babies, and I went to K through 12 in Newark. I graduated from Southside High School, Malcolm X Shabazz. Then I went to Central State University, historically black college, and I came back to Newark rather, to teach Africana Studies, which I don't want to talk about unless somebody wanted me to. But I just wanted to say that I was an Africana Studies educator for 17 years in a program that was the premier and the only program like it in the country that was a 2-year Africana Studies program educating black youth ever in the country. But that's all I want to say about that. And I appreciate your question, man.
Well, thank you very much. I just wanted to let you know that from listening, I do understand what a difference you have made over the years, and I greatly appreciate you. I had my baby there. I'm a mother of 9 children. I had my last son there in 1992. And I just wanted to ask you one more question. How does it feel to be back home?
How does it feel? I'm in America. And that's my home, and
I know that's right. Because I was in Atlantic City, New Jersey for 13 years, and then I came back to Virginia, and now I just came back to Atlantic City because my mom just passed, and my father, he's elderly now, so I had to come back and take care of him. But I just wanted to let you know that I greatly appreciate you. I've been listening to you a lot, and I will follow you because I know that you have, made it to me. From listening to you, you have made a difference over the years, and I greatly appreciate you. And I'll be looking forward to seeing you. I will be there on Tuesday, to hear more of what you have to say.
Okay. Now, Susan, you can take it from there as to where the questions go next, please.
All right, thank you.
Okay, so let's get back to then before we go on, Ms. Montague. What about the fact that the Newark Board of Education is providing contracts to people and not providing information as to what the contracts entail? Do you know anything about that?
Oh, yeah, I mean, yeah, that's been consistent. My only thing with that is, like, they need to be voted out. You know what I mean? Or they're going to continue with the same pattern of behavior. You know, that's why they're there, right, to procure the procurement that someone decides needs to be procured. So, I mean, that's what's going on. You know, they need to be voted out. I think there needs to be more transparency. I mean, you know, these are things that we've been talking about. I think that this was some kind of contract for about, what, 4.5 million, something like that. There was a no bid. Like, that's ridiculous. Who ever heard of such a thing? So, you know, like I said, they're going to – it's just sad that this is what black leadership is looking like, you know, because the decisions that are being made are just not lone decisions. Like, these decisions represent who we are in leadership, you know, and I don't know if that thought process is even considered when voting on things, or when, I don't know, gluttony is taken over, or, you know, I really don't know. I don't understand. I don't understand the thought process. I don't understand the lack of morality, collectivism. And I just read something saw a video on social media, and they were saying how they recently had something. I don't know if you heard, for Sharp James, because he was supposed to be ill, so they were supposed to give him some type of award, allegedly, in down Dayton Street in what used to be the Trek Center, formerly known as the Trek Center. But anyway, one of the residents was there, and they went to the council meeting to call out Pastor Patrick Council, who happens to be the South Ward councilman, called him out on the fact that he put up the four board candidates, and not all of us. And they called him out on that. They said that they thought that wasn't fair and that wasn't right. And I don't even know the man who did it. I don't know who this particular constituent is. But the fact that the community is seeing this and calling it out, it speaks volumes. So we just got to change the lens, change up what we're doing.
He's a candidate for district leader.
Oh, is that what he is? You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, I was shocked. I never saw him before.
Sharp brother.
Yeah, but that's whose brother?
He's he went to Newark Board of Education. I don't know his first name. His last name is McDougal, but he lives in the South Ward. Good, yeah. He was he's a transparency concerned citizen.
Well, I just saw him for the first time today. I was happy to see it. I was happy.
Tax watchdog. That's what he calls himself. He calls himself a taxpayer watchdog. Yeah.
Oh, wow, That's awesome. Listen, I'm so excited when I see our brothers getting up in the community, speaking up for what's right, because there's so many brothers in the community. And if it don't apply, let it fly. But if it sticks to you, let it hit. There's so many brothers in the community who pick friendship and past relationships with people who are probably not even alive anymore over advocating for the people who are. And that's disgusting. And understand, if it hits you, if it applies to you, Miss Montague, as a woman, as a mother, as a taxpayer, and all of it, but don't have no respect for you. If you can't stand up as a man and say no to what's going on because you want to be a part of the celebrity, or you want to get invited to the 24 hours of drug fest that occurs in the name of hip-hop, or you want to be invited to King or Queen Superintendent Leon's birthday party, you know, it's disgusting. It's not what we stand for as a people. So, again, I'm proud to see the brother standing up on his own, saying, hey, what's going on, asking the needed questions and making the statements that need to be made, because I'm not going to say no other man is doing it, but Newark is known for having a woman's advocacy seen, occurring. And that's why I'm so grateful and respectful for you, Che and Mutar, for stepping up, doing the same thing that gentleman is. So.
Okay, well, we want to thank you for this. That's part of the program. Now we're coming to a close here, but we want Susan to sort of give a synopsis of what all happened here. But more than that, for that, I want to say myself, I'm so proud of Muta El-Amin. I'm so proud of Sheila Montague. I'm so proud of J.T. Coulter. And I'm so proud of Deborah A1 Salters. I want to talk about those numbers and those lines, letters, and so on. It seems that normally the people, when they say A1, line A all the way, and before Susan gets to this, I want to say A1 all the way usually means you vote for everybody on line A, and that's the one that the party supports. But in this particular case, something weird happened. I guess the creator intervened, because seemingly they were supposed to put the names in an egg, and put the egg in the little hopper thing like at the lottery, and let it go around and round. And if it worked out the way they wanted, their candidates would have wound up 1, 2, and 3 or something. But somehow Deborah Salter's name came up A1, and that put a crinkle in it. So now they had to have 2, 3, and 4. And then, of course, Miss Montague is 5. And then 7 and 8 would be Che and Muta. I mean, so it looks to me like it's very, very possible that the 4 of them may have an impact, because think about it. If all 4 of them have their names put up, for instance, there's one seat, B1, which they said is open, that's one already. But what happens if they took and put Mutar's name in there and everybody voted in? I'm not telling anybody to write Mutar's name in there, but suppose Che and Montague and Salters all of them wrote Che's name in there, and then people that Che knows and the watershed or the water works up there, they all wrote Che's name in there. And then the other 3 ran after the Beanhouse, Santana, and Dawn Hayes team. It's possible that all 4 of them would be in there, and people would say, Lordy, what happened here? Now, I know there are people that are going to blame me and say that I instigated all this to happen. I know I know the NCP lady, Ms. Smith Gregory, would be shocked to know all that's happening. But I think, and even in there, Ralph Baraka, like I said, Amiri would be rolling over in his grave 3 times if he knew how badly these people were treating the city of Newark right now. But that's not my call to make. So I thank you for coming. There's going to be this program on the eve of the election on Monday. All the candidates will be there. Hopefully these 4 candidates will be able to bring up some of the things that we discussed here, or even to point out that it's too bad they could not have an unfiltered forum for their election. All the forums they've had have been filtered and filled with abuse and chicanery and negativism. So we hope that this has been a good forum, and hopefully within Mr. McDougall and Ms. Montague and Mr. Che, y'all were mentioning this brother. Who knows? People like that may be a part of a future plan, and maybe we could get the students who are going to be voting getting involved in a Newark This Week on Grown Folks Talking Network. It's up to the people to decide that. So we just wanted to mention that part. Susan? Oh, where's Susan? What happened?
Maybe she's muted again.
Yeah, let me see. Let me look. Okay. Susan is muted. Yes.
Mr. Williams, you kept me muted all that time and I'm talking. That's okay. That's okay.
I didn't know you were muted, Susan.
No worries. There's so much going on. I'm talking. But anyway, I was listening to what you said, and I agree 100%. Malcolm X said, by any means necessary. I like that idea of getting everybody together and writing the name for that woman who always stands up there and said, I'm running uncontested. And I keep asking myself, as Deborah say, well, why are you here? Why are you here if you're so uncontested? But, you know, I was just thinking about something you said, Mr. Williams, about, when political candidates have their elections and after it's over with, they have like an aftermath. On behalf of the grown folks talking, we would love to invite you all back and have an aftermath jam where we talk about what could have been done and what the strategies are for the future, and moving forward, Deborah, but moving forward towards something, towards a goal of winning. Basically, I just want to thank you guys for all coming on the Grown Folks Talking podcast. I'm going to really miss you all because I'm just praying. And like I said, I'm not only praying because all faith without works is dead. There are going to be people who are voting in this election who I know who's never voted in an election before. So I know a lot of people in Newark. Like I said, I've been raised in Newark, bred in Newark, and Newark is really my home. I have had some wonderful, wonderful memories there. But in closing, I just like to say I'd like for every one of the candidates to give me your best shot why this audience should vote for you. Starting off with Deborah Salters, A1 Gets It Done.
All right, Deborah Salters, A1 Gets It Done. Come on, put some sauce on it, right? So a vote for me is a vote for your children to be pulled out of the pipeline to prison system that they're in right now. A vote for me is to give me the power to sit on that seat and check Roger Leone, who is damaging our children and does not care. A vote for me is a vote for literacy and safety for our children, to get the things that they need, to get the parents engaged, to put it back in the hands of society, of our community. So a vote for me means that our children are our now and not the future, because if we don't do it now, they will have no future. Deborah Salters, A1. Come on and vote so we can get it done.
That's right, Deborah. Congratulations. Next person up in the queue is Sheila Montague. Give us your last shot, Miss Montague. Why will we vote for you?
Okay, so several reasons why you definitely should vote for Sheila Montague, A5. I should definitely have one of those 4 votes that everyone has in this city, is because, number one, I'm a certified educator who has taught here in the city of Newark my entire life, and I understand the plight from both angles, from being an educator and being a mom of young people who went here to the city of Newark. Also, people should definitely vote for me because of my level of commitment. And I'm pretty honest in terms of what my goals and aspirations are. And better than I could tell you, I think I've shown people that. Number 2, I have never left advocacy in this city, no matter of an election, because a lot of times, like, you'll have 50 people to jump in an election, and once it's over and they see it's no title and it's no glitz and glam on them, they disappear. I don't do that. Number next, why they should vote for me, because it is a vote for our children. It is a vote for their parents, a vote for the community. And I'm a very selfless person. I'm a very selfless person. I think if people are being honest and if people are looking at what they need to be looking at, they'll see that. When it came to this water that our children are drinking, I'm the one who forced the issue of the mayor to make him address that water issue by bringing the water advocates from Flint, Michigan here to Newark and allowing them to stay in my home while we met down in the Ironbound section and change that situation. Well, at least it was addressed. And it's a bunch of reasons why, but I'm going to just close by saying that aside from me having experience in writing curriculum, sending numerous kids to college through the vehicle of playing basketball and coaching debate, I'm just like a great person to have on your school board because I really, really care. And thank you for having me on this platform. Sheila Montague, A5, and let's get that vote popping off. And when we come back, we're going to talk about how we won. We're going to put that into the spirit of the air.
Congratulations, Sheila Montague. Congratulations for running. Mr. Jay Coulter, tell us take your best shot. Tell this audience why you should be on that school board, sir. Jay, are you there? Jay Coulter. What about Muta? Muta, are you in the queue or what? Okay. If not, I guess they made
Jay is there. He's perhaps occupied on his phone. Maybe he's muted or something, but he's there.
I'm here. I'm here.
And Muta there. So.
Jay Coulter, okay, we're down to the count. Take your best shot and tell this audience why you should be on the board.
All right. Oh, Che's still out. This is Muta El Amin.
Okay, Muta.
The reason why you, the people, should elect me because I'm an extension, a direct extension of what you want to bring. So the thing is, I'm not coming here saying what I want. I got all these lofty goals and lofty plans. What it is it's a dialogue and a direction that we have to go in. And understanding my history and creating programs for the community, we understand that I'm invested in this. We understand that this is not something that I take lightly. It's a lifestyle. So whether it's the school board or whether it's the community, I believe that all struggles are interconnected. So in order to fix us, it's going to take a lot of different avenues towards intervention, creating that village, creating those guidelines, creating those foundations. I believe that it's something that needs to happen. It's a journey that we are going to have to take. So that's why I should be elected, because it starts that journey to healing us as a people. 8 Muta El Amin. It takes a village. Partner Che Coulter. 8-7. It takes a village. Peace and blessings.
Congratulations, both men. Congratulations to Che, and also congratulations to you, Muta, for running and taking on this challenge. And I wish success to you both, all the candidates. Mr. Williams, please close this out, sir.